Good afternoon from AlphaCars. My name is Tom, coming to you from our Hampton location, and it is a good afternoon indeed because today we're going to be taking a look at this striking 2021 BMW M4 competition. This M4 competition is currently showing just over 29,000 original miles. And if you would like to see a high-resolution detailed photo set, please reference the listing at alphacars.com. There, of course, you will also find a free included Carfax report, alongside a long list of technical data related to the vehicle's remaining tire and brake life, as well as individual readings from each panel using our paint depth gauge. But today I'll take you on a quick condition overview around both the interior and the exterior of the M4 Comp, as well as showing you some of the interesting features that make this vehicle so special. Now, of course, we'll start at the exterior, and you will have noticed the gorgeous color scheme. Now, this vehicle is finished in what BMW describes as Isle of Man green. It's a just stunning color with so much metallic quality to the paint that depending on the lighting condition, the vehicle really changes color. In direct sunlight, it's got this beautiful bright green pop that comes alive when that metallic reflects the light back at you. It's got dark green metallic, light green, maybe a little bit of blue in there as well. Really, I don't think the camera will do it justice just how incredible this paint looks to the human eye. Now, looking at the general condition, of course, as usual, I take you really close to the panel so as to look for any dings, dents, scratches, etc. Anything that you would notice with an irregular light reflection off the panel. As you can see, though, all the way here to the back, the vehicle looks absolutely perfect. These body lines are stunning. I especially love this body line here off of the rear that fades out just before it meets the door. Really well sculpted by BMW. It's a stunning design, and right now we're looking at my favorite angle on the entire vehicle. Now, looking here at the wheels. Now, being an M4 competition, this does feature the lighter weight wheels. It's been a recent trend in BMW to see these kind of basket weave, modern retro style wheels, but of course they are intended to save weight, and being the competition, it does feature a staggered setup. You have 19-inch wheels in the front and 20-inch wheels in the back. You can see absolutely zero curb rash to report, looking just around those Michelin tires that are in nice shape as well, but also make a note of here in the back just how large those brake rotors are. They're drilled for better cooling, but of course that is a massive set of rear brakes, even on a performance car. As we make our way to the front, note some more of that gorgeous contrast with the piano black with those nice side skirts jutting out of the side of the vehicle, as well as the piano black trim around the windows, on the wing mirrors, and on the roof itself. Now, looking here at the front wheels, yet again, the same condition, absolutely perfect, no curb rash to report, and even larger brakes here at the front with those massive calipers labeled with the famous M logo. Making our way to the front fascia, you'll find absolutely nothing amiss up here, no rock chips, really stunning condition. Those headlight lenses are crystal clear, not showing any signs of oxidation or discoloration. They do feature BMW's laser headlight technology, which is really an impressive set of headlights at night. And as you can see, they stuck some little blue accents into the front, which I think match nicely with the small blue accent here on the badge that you will surely recognize. Some more piano black accents on the lower portion, and of course the massive cooling inlets here at the front. Now, with the M4 having such a potent powertrain here at the front, they really needed to be able to accept a ton of air, not only to cool the engine, but to feed it, mix it with gas, and put a big smile on your face. So of course they opened up the front end here on the nose of the M4 to really allow for maximum airflow into the engine bay. You also do have some functional vents here that carry into the wheel arches. And next up, we'll move on to the passenger side of the vehicle. Starting here, looking at the front wheel, again, those massive brakes and another wheel in stunning condition. Going real close to the panel, yet again, looking for dings, dents, or scratches. However, you will find here on the passenger side, it all checks out. It looks fantastic. All the way to the rear of the vehicle. Finally, here on the side, one more wheel to take a look at. Again, as you would expect, fantastic condition. This vehicle was enthusiast owned from the factory, and he took great care to make sure this vehicle stayed nice for the next person to really enjoy it. Now, looking here at the rear of the vehicle, Again, those taillights, crystal clear, no issues at all in the lenses. I think the rear end of this vehicle is very attractive. I think it's styled beautifully, and that's helped by the fact that it has this very aggressive kit here on the lower portion. You have these massive quad exhaust tips finished in a dark chrome, flanked by this piano black diffuser panel, and some extra side skirts here jutting out to the rear. You also have this extended trunk spoiler, and right on cue, as if the sun popped through these clouds, and I can show you the difference that direct sunlight makes. Just look at that color, the way it almost jumps off the car. It's really incredible, and you'll see how much that metallic accentuates those body lines all the way around the vehicle. Really, really a stunning job by BMW with that paint job. I'm a huge fan. But of course, one thing that makes this spec all the more exciting is what we're going to find when we look inside. Now, looking around the interior, of course, you'll find that striking green exterior paired with a just as exciting interior. This is BMW's orange leather interior, and as you can see, really, really jumps out at you. I think it looks fantastic. I love wild specs like this one. Now, as you'll see, look at the condition on the driver's seat. Absolutely no wear on these outer bolsters like you would expect to find. And as you can see on the lower bolster, where you usually find the most wear the soonest, that looks perfect. You have maybe a little bit of wear there in the center, and I love that little touch of how you can see those little waves of orange behind that black leather. Really a nice touch. BMW didn't have to put that in there, but I appreciate that they did. You also have some suede trim and these M4 logos that light up at night. That's a very small touch, but it is pretty neat. You can see here the passenger seat, as you would expect, even nicer than the driver's seat. But we'll make our way inside, and I'm going to waste no time starting up the vehicle. I'm actually going to reach down here to that bright red start-stop button. I want to keep the door open so you can hear that exhaust. We're going to have to put a battery in the key, it appears. As you can see, it shows you the depiction of the M4 there in the gauge cluster. And I'd like to put in M mode so maybe you could hear that change in the exhaust. Now give a listen. Hear how much deeper and aggressive that exhaust note gets when I put it in M mode. We'll cover that more in a moment. So as you can see, looking through the interior, dashboard in stunning condition as you would expect. If you see any flickering on the screen, that's only due to the camera. Here to the human eye, it looks absolutely perfect. I'll start by giving a tour just ahead of me. You can see the gauge cluster, a fully digital display with lots of different customization. You can really change whatever you'd like to be displayed here at any time. And also with one touch of a button, if I put it in sport mode, I get this fighter jet cockpit style display, which looks really aggressive. As you can see, really cool. And I do have the G meter program to appear on the left. However, you could customize this however you want. BMW was very into the customization aspect on the M4. Looking at the steering wheel just ahead of me, a nice leather wrapped steering wheel, really thick, feels great in the hand, and promotes some performance driving. You can see the traditional M color stitching carrying all the way around the steering wheel interior, and that's all in perfect shape. Nice leather wrapped airbag cover, and of course all of the traditional controls like your cruise and your media. All of these are in great shape. What you're really interested in are all these controls. Now, of course, you have your downshift and upshift paddles, but these bright red tabs off the side of the steering wheel, these are for your M mode presets. So let's put you in the mind frame of driving the M4. You're driving through downtown. You want a nice, comfortable vehicle that's going to be quiet, not upset anybody. You want some light steering, a light brake pedal feel. You can have the vehicle set up just how I do now, in all of the comfort and efficient settings, and it's going to be very easy to drive. It'll drive no more challenging than a regular 435 or something of that nature. However, then you take a quick turn and you're on a fun back road. You want to have a little bit of fun. All it takes is one push of this button. You can hear the exhaust wakes up a little bit. It's a bit deeper. Hopefully that comes through on camera. Suddenly the vehicle is in its aggressive setting. If I wanted an even more aggressive setting, the way the vehicle is currently set up, I'd put it in M2. And now you can see all maximum sport traction control has gone off, and this vehicle is ready to do some serious performance driving. And just as quickly, with one touch of the button, we're back to a nice, comfortable daily driver. BMW really likes to add some customization to their M driving experiences, and this vehicle is no exception. Now, starting to look here at the center console display, your main multimedia display here, Now, of course, you have the regular things you would expect, the navigation, the beautiful Harman Kardon sound system, just providing an amazing soundtrack to your experience. But also, one thing I just kind of came across as I was exploring the vehicle, if I put it in reverse, of course you have some nice cameras, you know, and where it starts to get impressive is, say I'm parallel parking and I can't really see those wheels on the passenger side. All I do is one tap, and you're gonna see it display a 3D model from a third-person perspective where I can watch that curb and see exactly how far I am. Now, it gets even crazier. See, I'll put it back to the reverse cam, but if I go over here and I look at the 3D view, now I can see my diagram on the right, my point of view, and I can take a whole tour around the outside of the vehicle, seeing how close I am to things, or just having fun and playing around with the screen like I am. I think this is pretty fantastic, and it's amazingly accurate to see how close I am, you know, with that front wheel to the line there. Really an impressive camera system on the M4 that I had no idea BMW was utilizing in their performance and sport cars. Really cool to see that. But moving on from the screen here, as you can see, we do have the climate control area. All of these switches are in perfect shape. You do have heated and ventilated seats. It's all confined to one button, but if I push that button, you'll see a menu come up where I can select exactly what I want to be controlling and when. So that's a nice thing to see. Looking a bit lower, you have your traditional BMW, very simple media controls just here, your volume and your presets, as well as, you know, skip and rewind. Now we move on to the center console area where you find this really interesting trim. I expected to see carbon fiber in here, but I actually like the way this lightens up the interior a bit, adds some silver accents to match the door panels, as you can see. And if I just tap this, it's going to open up, revealing some cup holders, a power outlet, etc., a bit of storage in there as well. And if I drop this down again, it seamlessly blends back into that beautiful silver textured material. Looking at my little center control panel here, I think it's very attractive, and I like the way it's all confined to a small space. It's not all spread out. You can see some general controls, as you might expect. You do have your M mode configurator here, so if I tap this, as I mentioned before, that's going to throw me into that really interesting display because I've programmed it that way in the main screen. I also have my exhaust. You know, I can, in one tap, even in M mode, drop that exhaust note back down. You know, you're driving past somebody who looks like they won't appreciate a loud car. One tap is going to solve all your problems. Looking at the gear selector, you have some matching M-colored stitching to that steering wheel. It's a really nice thing to see. And, of course, on the left, that switch might look a bit confusing, but that's actually a selector where you can change the shift aggression. So the ZF 8-speed automatic is the best on the market, by my standards at least, and many others. And with that selector there, you can change from a relaxed, easier shift that's a bit more gentle to a full-on, aggressive, dual clutch-like gear change. And those changes are really noticeable depending on the setting. So that's a really cool thing to find yet another way BMW lets you customize your experience. And the last way I want to show you BMW customizing your experience is going into the menu for car and M menu. And we'll say we want to configure that M1, which is this switch here on the left. You can see all these different aspects I can change. So of course in your engine settings, you have Sport Plus, which is going to be maximum aggression, quick throttle response, and absolute maximum power this engine's capable of. Of course, your transmission, the different shift aggression that I talked about. You have your chassis settings, which is going to be your suspension and your ride comfort. Your steering is going to go from light to heavy with a lot of feedback. You can even adjust your brake pedal feel in this vehicle from a light to an aggressive, hard brake pedal. You also have, of course, your traction and your exhaust sound here. Pardon me. As you can see here, just next to me, I have this bright orange center console area with lots of storage and some power outlets as well. And just above my head, a beautiful sunroof, which can be opened up using this panel here, or I can seal off some of that unwanted light. I just reached back like it was by hand, but of course I forget I'm in a premium vehicle and it's just one touch on that switch to close it up. But next up, let's make our way under the hood where we can check out what makes the M4 such a special performance vehicle. I'll meet you there. All right, so as you can see, we're up here at the nose of the M4 yet again, now with the hood open, taking a look at the gorgeous engine bay. As you might expect with a vehicle of this vintage and mileage, it's all in perfect shape under here, but it is nice to see it for yourself. All the hardware looks great. Even the Isle of Man green painted panels under here just present beautifully. Looking at that engine cover, you can see BMW M Power. Of course, that last word there is no joke. This engine is an absolute powerhouse. This is a turbocharged inline 6-cylinder that you may be used to seeing in modern M3s and 4s. However, here in the competition, BMW claims that this 3-liter engine produces 503 horsepower to the crank. That is more than the traditional M4. However, there is some dispute about that figure, and it's not in the way you might think that I'm leading into. Actually, a lot of people are claiming that this engine produces quite a bit more than 503 horsepower and 473 pounds-feet of torque. Some independent owners have taken their cars to dynos, bone stock, and based on the wheel horsepower output accounting for drivetrain loss, they expect this engine might actually produce closer to 550 horsepower. But of course, I encourage you to find out for yourself, see what you think based on this engine. But that's just a bit of a mystery with this powertrain. But of course, more power has never been a bad thing, as we know. And another great spec about this engine is you're going to see around 23 miles per gallon on the highway, because you don't have a big thumping V8 up here at the front. And of course, being an inline 6, it is lightweight. The engine is relatively far recessed into the engine bay, keeping that weight low and central. And as you can see with all of these bars here going across the engine, these struts, this is a very rigid front end, as you would expect from a performance car. Now, not only does this engine produce a godly amount of power, however, it also makes a fantastic noise. So I'm just going to put the camera out back and let you hear this on some light revs, as the engine is now up to temp. I'll meet you back there. Just sounds unbelievable here behind the M4. But last thing we're going to take a look at is your storage space here in the rear. Now, of course, one touch is going to pop that trunk right open. And as we can see, a very spacious trunk for a performance coupe. You can see the original floor mats just here in great condition. All of the carpeting is in great shape as well. And using these levers and a lever on the interior, you can actually drop down those seats to really expand your storage potential here in the back of the M4. It is not a electric latch here, so I'm going to close that down by hand. Of course, that is likely to save weight on the M4. But as you can see, with that bright sunlight and that gorgeous color shining bright right now, this is just a very unique spec of a very unique car, and we hope you find it as interesting as I do here. I think this car is pretty incredible. But if you have any further questions, we'd be happy to answer those, and you can reference the listing at alphacars.com, and there you'll find all of the relevant contact information. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you from AlphaCars.